every single day, like all those hard-working people over there have done. My dad was an iron worker before me. My mom was a postal clerk. My dad's actually 90 years old. He's going to be, he'll be 91 in March. My mom's 88, and they're both obviously retired quite a while now. But I'm blessed that I have 5 sisters. I don't have any brothers, but I've got 5 sisters. When people ask me why I was with Hillary Clinton in the last election, I said, because I'm used to women to tell me what to do. But I have 5 sisters, and my mom and dad, and my mom fell a few weeks ago, and a few months ago, broke her hip. But I'm lucky, because I'm back and forth to Washington probably 3 days a week or 4 days a week. Sorry about that. Thanks, Bill. And it's my sisters and 2 of my nieces that really provide around-the-clock care for mom and dad. They're both doing well, but if I didn't have them, and if my mom and dad didn't have them, it would be a struggle. So I've learned firsthand, how important health care is, how important Medicare is. This past session of Congress, my Republican friends were trying to change Medicare. And what they were trying to do is now, right now, Medicare is a comprehensive program. So when you go into the hospital, Medicare basically provides all of your care. And that's the way it has been for generations now. They wanted to change it to a situation where Medicare would pay 90% and you would pay 10%. And then, in a few years, they would pay 85% and you would pay 15%. And then in 10 years, you'd pay 80, they'd pay 80 and you'd pay 20. So they were trying to change it to a voucher system, where your voucher would be worth less and less and less as time went on. And as you know, I looked at the hospital bills with my mother. She, like I said, she broke her hip. They had she was in for surgery. It was an ordeal. She was in the hospital probably for a week, 10 days, and then had to go to rehab for another 20 days. So the costs were astronomical. So when you think about the 20% that you would have to pay in a relatively short time on a huge, huge hospital bill, that's not the Medicare that I support. I support, when you go in there, you don't have to worry about the medical procedures that you have to have. And I mean, a broken hip is certainly very painful and serious, but you can think of all the other treatments that you might be subject to that would be under that same umbrella. So we have to make sure that we protect Medicare. The other piece is Social Security. Several years ago now, actually back under the Bush administration, they were trying to change Social Security from the system it is right now to invest, to have private investment accounts, and to put Social Security basically on the stock market, to put it into the market. And ironically, thankfully we were able to stop it. I voted against it. All the Democrats in Massachusetts voted against it and protected Social Security as it is today. But if we had not done that, when the market went in the toilet back in 2007, we would have lost billions and billions of dollars, and your Social Security benefits would have been at risk. And we didn't do that. So there are certain, I think, there are democratic ideals that we support that have been good for working people for a long, long time. And as Bill mentioned, I know what it's like to stand on the unemployment line. I was actually an iron worker at the General Motors plant before General Motors made a decision to close 3 of its U.S. plants, including Framingham, and they opened up 3 new ones in Mexico, just over the border. And I saw what that did to the town of Framingham. We lost a lot of good jobs, 2,300 workers laid off. And I saw what it did not only to the workers, but also to the town itself. The coffee shops and the pubs and taverns and restaurants, the schools, the families weren't there to support them, and so they struggled for a long time. And so when I look at a trade agreement like that ships like NAFTA, that shipped a lot of U.S. jobs overseas, I don't just see that as government policy. I see that as my job, and other programs like public housing and senior housing. I lived for 15 years in the Old Colony housing projects with my mom and dad and 5 sisters, 1 bathroom. With 5 sisters, I spent most of my youth waiting to use the bathroom. Because the girls sometimes in my family, this is my dad says, he said, there are sometimes in our family where we had to save up to be poor. And, so I know what it is to struggle. And I know what's important in your lives. And I just want you to know that, you know, when I go to the United States Senate, you'll go to the United States Senate. I'll have your back. I'll have your back. I'll protect our seniors. I'll protect public education. We've got to fix some bridges and roads around Massachusetts. We need to put some people to work. And that will help the economy greatly. For Methuen and every other city and town in Massachusetts. So, thank you so much for waiting so long for me to come here today. I apologize, and I will be back. I'll be back over and over and over again. I'm not one of those... Some people can, you know, when they get elected, they move to Washington and then never come back. And that's the last you see of them. I just want to say that